Welcome back. Now, non-profits organisation CropLife South Africa is warning of the outbreak of cockroaches in the country. Humid and wet weather conditions over the past few months are to blame for this. The organisation says the outbreak has led to the use of illegal and harmful pesticides not suitable as an option indoors. Let's bring in Dr. Gerhard Verdoorn from CropLife. He joins us live now via Zoom. Thank you so much for your time, Doctor. I must say the story just creeps me out because I don't think there's anybody that likes cockroaches. But maybe just tell us about how serious the situation is and what's contributed to the increase of cockroaches.
I find the situation quite serious because I started getting the first indication of an increase in the outbreak or in the incidence of cockroaches around about February last year, and it just started increasing in number of calls. And when I saw the pictures of people's homes where they did a control operation and you literally see hundreds of dead cockroaches in the zinc on the floor, I realized there was a problem. Then we sent out some messages to members of the public, and all over the country I started getting information from people about huge outbreaks. And I went to some apartment buildings and I was just horrified to see, even during daytime, the cockroaches are scurrying all around the place, because normally we expect them to be busy at nighttime, but the level that we see them currently, I don't think I've ever seen it so much in my life.
Yeah, I'm lucky you that you got to see them, because I don't think I would cope if I had to see so many cockroaches. But just maybe tell us what's contributing to this, because you're saying it's very worrying and concerning. But what is the actual cause of this? Because it's clearly abnormal. You say they are normally seen at night. But I mean, if you're saying hundreds are found in people's homes now, what's the actual cause?
Well, I think two causes. One is anthropomorphic of origin and one is natural. So the natural cause is the fact that after the drought that we had in the country for a couple of years, we had at least two very good summers with lots of rain in the summer rainfall areas. Even the Western Cape, the winter rainfall was fairly normal to slightly above normal. And obviously hot and humid conditions during the summer are excellent for cockroaches. They like a tropical sort of climate. So if you think about your kitchen under the zinc, where it's nice and humid, and you think below your stove and your other appliances, these are the areas where cockroaches like to hide out. Now, when it's nice and warm there, plus you've got high humidity and high rainfall, now those environmental conditions are very good for cockroaches to start breeding up and colonizing homesteads completely. But what is even more concerning is the fact that when I talk to people and I look at the places where I see these cockroaches, I find that the areas are very, very dirty, to use that nasty words. In other words, homes are not properly cleaned up. There's a lot of refuse lying around, food littering all over the place, refuse bags lying around the streets, in neighborhoods, in shopping malls, everywhere. So we are not living clean ourselves, so that's why we actually invite these dirty animals to come in the environment by providing them with excellent climate and also with a lot of food resources. So a dirty house, a dirty kitchen, cupboards that are not properly cleaned out, and leftover food that are left over at night, and dishes that are not washed properly after dinner at night. These are all things that catalyze the massive cockroach outbreak we currently see in the country.
Yeah, that's very worrying. Doctor, I just want to ask, and I hope this is a fair question, but are these, how do I phrase this? Are these cockroaches from South Africa, or have they migrated from elsewhere and are here now and it's just increasing?
No, they're not indigenous. We have a lot of indigenous cockroaches that people never see because they live in the forest or they live in the garden, where they do mulching of compost, where they perform a very important ecological function for us. But the ones that bug us now, the American cockroach and the German cockroach, these are alien invasive species, in other words, they're exotic. So they're not from our country. But remember, Europeans came to the country about 400 years ago, and along with them came cockroaches and the rats and the mice. So we actually brought them into the country, and now we've got them established as a resident species. And our conditions that create for them are fantastic. So they just live in absolute haven for cockroaches.
Oh, that's very worrying. Okay, Doctor, what is the way forward? I mean, you are from CropLife. Have you alerted our government to say this is of great concern? What should be done now moving forward to try and bring down those very worrying numbers of these cockroaches?
Well, we believe it's better to work with the public because currently I don't think anybody's got much belief in most of our state departments, and you can't expect the state to come in now with extermination program because they can hardly do anything about the rat explosion we've had for the last couple of years. So we work with the public, we give advice to the public by telephone and by WhatsApps and with information like we see tonight, and tell people, first of all, do not buy any insecticide that you buy over social media like Facebook and WhatsApp, because we know there are people who decant a very toxic chemical called dichlorphos, which is a pure organophosphate, into small containers and sell to the public. It is quite effective, but it's absolutely lethal if you inhale that stuff or if you get it into your mouth. And that's done completely legally. I don't know whether people get hold of it, but there's a syndicate of people doing this sort of illegal thing, and we warn people against using such chemicals. What we advise the people to do, and we're talking to all South Africans, whether you're from a wealthy neighborhood or from informal settlement, doesn't matter. You go to your hardware store, you look at the labels of the pesticides on the shelf and select the one which is registered for cockroaches. Remember, in our country, the registrar controls all the pesticides, and his rule is the rule that you may only use a pesticide as per label instructions. So you get the pesticide, you might use, for example, a surface spray containing a pyrethroid or something like malathion, or you can use one of the baits, which is actually fantastic because you can buy a bait station, or you can buy a little syringe with baits that you dot all over your kitchen, under your sinks and everywhere, and the cockroaches eat them and they take them back from the colony and you wipe the colony out. So we only advocate that people follow the rules in terms of using a registered pesticide with the protective gear that you're supposed to use according to label and according to all the label instructions. Or then if you find that you have such a massive outbreak, you can't do it yourself, you get hold of a registered pest control operator that's registered by the Registrar of Act 36, and the person must have a registration certificate with a fumigation number on certificate. Otherwise, the person may not operate in your place and do fumigation.
Okay, thank you so much for that insight and alerting us. And I think also just be hygienic, as you mentioned, that these cockroaches like to go to areas that are not clean and where there's a lot of damp. So thank you for those insights. We do appreciate it. That is Dr. Gerhard Verdoorn, who's from CropLife South Africa.